You're listening to Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. Small town feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Well, it's a wonderful week in the neighborhood this week. It's the day after Easter. I have Liz Hargrove from Crazy 8 Ministries. We're going to talk not just about City on the Hill, but apparently you have a big building campaign coming. And we're going to show the plans, the blueprints there, and all this other business, the model, and that's a big ambitious project you got looking there. But that's y'all, right? Y'all.
Yes.
Well, that's how a lot of these things get started. I'm sure a lot of times people thought, no, I don't know if this will work or not. But y'all's ministry's been around for a little while now, right?
We were established in 2011.
Yeah, and so, you're going to be here a little while longer, God willing, so there you go. We're also going to talk mostly, though, about the event coming up on May 10th. That's always a great event. I really enjoy it, and it's a very relaxed, low-key kind of, family kind of thing, isn't it? It isn't like high stress and all this other stuff. Some of these events, there's a lot of activity, and this one is like you can just take your stroll and go to the vendors and whatnot. Are y'all still taking vendors?
Yes, we are, definitely.
Okay.
We'll take them up into, we've had people pull in the parking lot and be like, hey, I didn't register, and we just say, come on.
No, none of this no room at the end routine, huh? Okay.
No,
right.
The more the merrier.
Yeah, okay.
That's, really what it's about, making as much opportunity for the community as possible.
And to be a vendor, it doesn't cost. There's no fee you're charging. So that's a big deal. But before we get too far down the road, let's talk about the sponsors who make all this possible. This is our 701st show, and I'm amazed. I'm not the only one either, but I'm amazed that we've done that many shows, and hopefully we'll do more. But anyway, thank you to Otto over at Our Place and Gina's. Yesterday, he closed his restaurant for Easter. You don't see that very often for restaurants. Usually, they're expecting business or whatever, but he wanted his employees to be with their families. And that's one reason why if you go to Otto's restaurants, Our Place, Gina's, also that one that's coming down the road, that's why he has such a consistent staff, because he takes care of his people. And
he's good people.
Yeah, and that's why we like it. You walk into Otto's restaurants and they know you. It's like that old Cheers routine. But I walk into Our Place and the waitresses know, okay, this is what you normally like, and you want that again? Yeah, sure. And it's a good thing. So anyway, check out all those things at Otto's places at Our Place here in Burleson, also the one that's opening up at Crowley. I asked him, by the way, the one down the street, when is it going to be open? And he's like, I'd love for it to be open now, but it is trying to get construction on time. So his goal is early May. And then, of course, we all know where Gina's is. And then thank you to our friends over at, you skipped Old Pro, buddy.
My bad.
There you go. All right, there it is, Old Pro Roofing. Hey, they pay too. All right. John Williams, 817-734-2756. Again, we were supposed to have this real bad weather last weekend, yada, 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 and not so much. But apparently we're going to have more weather coming up this week, and we'll see. But anyway, a good idea to have your roof inspected prior to that, and it doesn't cost you anything for that. So call John, he'll come check your roof out, and he'll tell you, well, you got a few shingles loose or not. He's not there to upsell you and tell you your roof's crashing in when he's just trying to get a sale. He'll tell you the truth about your roof. That's a good motto for him, the truth about your roof. So 817-734-2756 will get you, John. Also, now you could put Jeff Kelly on there, right? At the Weatherington Agency, 817-781-0546. He's really good about knowing what's going on in the real estate market, of course, not just because it's his profession, but he just really knows what he's talking about. And he knows what's going on with the rates as best as anybody else can know. And if you're looking to move in and around this area, he handles not just Burleson, but Godley, Joshua, Grandview, all the growing communities, things like that. So if it's in Johnson County, you're good to go with Jeff. Or you can email him at jeff@jeffkellyrealty.com. And Michelle Humphrey over at HotWorks with 11 different workout formats. It's all infrared, so it reduces the stress upon your joints and muscles and bones and whatever else, and you get a good workout. And if you're not really even clear about what you want to do, but you have like a goal in mind, they can give you the workout that'll help you achieve that goal. They're professionals there. It isn't like, here, just take a place and good luck to you. If you walk in and say, I want to work on this or do work on that, lose weight, strengthen the core, whatever, they have the workout and the regimen will help you achieve your goals. So talk to Michelle and her girls over at Hot Works over on John Jones. And our friend Tiffany Jane over at Local Life Magazine. This month's cover has ladies in business. There's several ladies in there that, like, for example, the florist right across the street from us is on the cover. Not across the street, well, across the parking lot, CNC Florist. Also, Southern GM Jewelry, also Southern Charm Bakery. So, ladies in business kind of thing. And it's a good thing. So it'll be coming out again in early May, beginning of every month. And come on, there it is. Burleson Buzz, are we going to get that one there? There we go. Well, it's a little slow on the computer today, Josh.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You have an Easter hangover or what?
No.
All right. Anyway, Burleson Buzz, I get my information from this. He'll be back on the beat pretty soon. Cody just had a son, and it's he's taking time off. I mean, listen to this guy, paternity leave. In my day, we were back at it the next day, or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, Burleson Buzz, lots of news. By the way, tonight there is a city council meeting. So if you see this after the fact, well, they'll still be on the website. And there's a couple of things on there that of interest to them, some rezoning questions, and also some stuff about the Central Appraisal District, which they're proposing a significant change in how they do appraisals, which will affect Burleson. So I had 2 shows on that last Thursday with Adam Russell and Larry Scott, and also a week prior to that with Mayor Fletcher, and they have some concerns. So if you want to check and see what happens about that, there you go. And lastly, Medicare counseling and therapy with Jerry Kavanaugh. Medicare now covers counseling and therapy. A lot of people my age in particular, I'm not on Medicare quite yet, but I will be in a couple of years. They don't think of therapy as an option for them. Grief therapy, grief counseling, things like that, because, it wasn't always covered. Now that it is, and people my age don't automatically reach for counseling, but they should. And there you go. So call Jerry over at 817-992-8034, or I always spell out his email address, gfcavana@swbell.net. That'd take you back, southwestbell.net.
Yes.
It's been a while. And we were kind of kidding with Mr. Jerry, man, gmail.com, all right? Does anybody use Hotmail anymore or anything like that?
No.
Man, or AOL or whatever?
My mom still has an AOL. I mean, goodness.
Yeah. So he'll upgrade after, he gets more clients after sponsoring the show and all that.
Yes.
Well, let's see. Let's talk about the event first. Or do you want to talk about that second, talk about your fundraiser?
Let's go City on a Hill.
City on the Hill, okay, May 10th. And this is, your third or fourth one, right?
Oh, man. I think our first one was 2012. So it's
really?
been quite a few years now.
You didn't have one during COVID, did you?
No, we missed 2 years due to COVID.
Yeah, right, okay. So maybe that's why I got my years mixed up, whatever. But this City on the Hill is a very nice event. It's a BHS parking lot still.
Yes, it is.
Right. And 10 to 2 on May 10th, and vendors and performances. Are you all going to have the stage out there?
Yeah, we do use the Burleson City stage, the big 18-wheeler, and we'll have different dance groups that are participating. So I have like Studio C, the Burleson Senior Center gets up there and dance. It's adorable. Francis Lee Dance Academy and Artistic Motion are all signed up to participate this year.
Oh, nice. Are you going to have like any of the school choirs?
We haven't been able to secure them yet. We still have some feelers out. So when we do have one stage time still open, if anybody out there is interested, we have 20 minutes open on our stage.
Well, I remember last year you had some singers and that were from the school, I believe.
Yes.
And then you also had a couple of I don't know if call them church choirs, but they were groups from of youth singers, things like that. And it was a really nice event. So and it was just funny. And of course, Lisa up there we have to push her on the stage. She's so shy and all, and all that. And is Turner going to be part of this, her son?
Yeah, they'll probably at noon. We do a citywide prayer and worship for about 30 minutes. We kind of pause. We try to pause all activities and really focus on just praying for our city and our country, and doing a little bit of worship. So he'll help out during that time. And then Rich Hooper is our MC for this year.
Oh, from 88.3. Okay, we'll talk about that at the very end. But Rich Hooper is a good guest for that, or good host, rather.
He's great.
For that, because he's very personable. I got to meet him about 3 months ago. Somebody connected us. He's also part of the Burleson Chamber. And so somebody put us together. We had some coffee over at Black Rifle.
Oh.
Or Black Rock. I keep calling it Black Rifle. That's a coffee type, but Black Rock over off of Wilshire. So there's a free plug. Black Rock. Got it. Okay. Anyway, and so we got to, we have a mutual support group kind of thing. He'll promote my shows. I promote his radio station. And he's really making an impact.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. And so you can have a prayer for the city, the country. Lord knows we could use it. I mean, there's prayer, the thing about it is, and this is a side note, this is a comment on my own, we should always pray for the president, regardless if you like him or not. I mean, it was harder for me to pray for Joe Biden, but, that's what, as a Christian, that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And so, those who not care for Mr. Trump, got to remember whom we serve, and it ain't who's currently in the White House. But as far as the other events, it's mostly a lot of vendors. From what I remember, and I've been there the last 2 years, you had some churches there, and they were, promoting their services and also whatever else they could do for the community. I know Next Step will be there. Who else is going to be there?
So currently we have quite a few signed up. I think we have probably about 30 to 35 signed up right now. And that would be anything from like Mathnasium and Palm Beach Tan, Family Smiles, and then all the way to, we have a Cub Scout group. We have a whole bunch of, I'm going to say small businesses that are crocheting and jewelry making, and Alley Cats will be there.
Oh, good. Alley Cats has really integrated themselves well into this community, haven't
yes.
they? I mean, they've really become a community partner. I know they're promoting their business, but they're also doing it to be part of the community.
Yeah, we did a supplies drive through them, and the amount of toilet paper they brought in was unreal. It was so amazing.
I've met the general manager at a couple of chamber events, and I'm very impressed with them. Not just, it's a fun thing, I don't know, a 63-year-old man go hang out at Alley Cats, that might get some unwanted attention, but still, it's a good place to take the kids or the grandkids or whatever else. And I know that a lot of the Sunday school classes and other groups go and they have bowling over there and then things like that. So if you go it's not just for the kids.
Oh no.
Yeah, so
I was just listening to a group talk about that. There's a group of seniors that go like every Tuesday, I think, or something like that. Again, part of the senior activity. But
I know that a couple of Sunday schools in my church had like a fellowship kind of thing over there where they could go bowling and even at 63, I still enjoy some of those video games. Of course, or pinball. That's my thing.
Oh my goodness, yes.
That's so retro. But anyway, and these are your sponsors here?
Yes. So Express in Texas Health Hughley are our title sponsors, and of course in partnership with the city of Burleson, helping out on all of our marketing needs. So those are definitely our top three for that, and then all the other ones there that help us put on the event. And
like HEB, they're always doing things like that. When HEB opened up, a lot of my students went to go work for them, and I had worked in the grocery business when I was a little older than them, but not much. And it wasn't that great experience, all right? But I mean, I did it for a while to get through school, but HEB really does treat their employees a lot better than your typical grocery store. There's some kids there that have been working there several years. They're not kids anymore. They're going through college, or they decided to make HEB their career after, and they probably weren't thinking about that when they were 17. They're just looking for a job. Also, Stampede Harley Davidson. That's nice. That's good. It's really nice to see these outfits supporting this kind of community event. It really, they don't have to do it. I mean, they could use other things to promote their businesses, but they do it because not only they want, to help and be part of the community, but, I think a lot of them do it on a personal level as well.
Yes. They believe in the mission.
Yeah, they
love
do.
to support.
So, you're going to have the fancy old cars there?
Yes, we will have a car show.
There you go. That's the best part for me. I like that part.
We do a show and shine. So there's no, if anybody out there with a classic car, there is no entrance fee in anything like that. It's just a show and shine. Come out and show off what you have there.
My father, when now he's not quite as able to get around, but sometimes I take him to these old car shows, and he, you know, and all this other stuff going on is great, but the car show, that was it. You know, looking at the old cars, and you know, that's always a big deal. And when I was doing the homecoming parades for the high school, we'd always try to get those old cars just so I could tote the young ladies around, you know, the queens and whatnot. And that was the biggest part of the show. I mean, people go, oh, there's the band. Oh, there's, you know, some flatbed going by with kids. Oh, look at that car.
Yes. So I was raised in a family of that collects antique cars. So my grandfather has an 1899.
1899?
Yes. Super steam engine little
Does it work?
carriage. Yes, it does.
Holy moly. 1899. My dad had 3 vintage Mustangs at one point. And one time when I was a senior at Baylor, we used one of his Mustangs to put our homecoming queen from my frat on it. And we're driving down, you know, on the main drag for the parade. And all these other frats had these cars, you know, like DeLoreans or, you know, these fancy cars. But man, that white Mustang convertible coming by, it got attention because people just love old cars.
Oh, yeah.
You know, new cars, great, but old cars. And Burleson has quite a number of them around here.
Yeah. I would say we can typically, if the rain stays away, we can typically get a good showing out of our car show.
Well, here's the thing about the rain. I remember 2 years ago, you know, the weather was supposed to be pretty bad. And Lisa prayed on the show, Lord, this is like the Thursday or maybe the Tuesday of that week, you know, Lord, if it be your will, have the rain go away or at least hold off. And son of a gun, one cloud went north, one cloud went south, and there you go. And thought, Lisa,
just split right around the city.
And I said, I'm going to take you to Vegas and you know, pray for a, you know, inside straight or something like that. But last year did get a little wet, but
I would say just a little bit.
not much.
Which
So-
is actually, I think, if I remember correctly, it just ever so sprinkled while we were setting up, which was amazing. And then
Right.
it sprinkled while we were tearing down.
Yeah.
So it was like the 2 times that we're going to be working the hardest and be potentially the hottest. It was
Yeah.
just a nice little cool in the middle of it all.
Right. But she has, I'm quite sure, an inside connection with the Almighty because it just is so funny. But it's always been a great event for the little kids as well. You know, because some of these outfits will have like little games.
Yes.
You know, little putt or, you know, ring toss or something like that. So if you have little kids and you're trying to keep them busy this weekend, it's a good place to do it.
So let me kind of share the heart behind it was us as a nonprofit would, one, go set up at events, and it was expensive to set up. It's expensive to market. So that was one of our heart desires was to really put on an event that was free for the vendors. We also saw that there was like city events and church events and community events. Typically you have to have tokens to play or whatever. And so again, we were like, there's nothing that really brings all of these organizations together. Like you can go separately. But it was really our desire to put all the pillars of the community that really make a community run together on one playing field and say, hey, look, we can have 4 different banks. We can have multiple different companies that do the same thing. We can all come together, and there's enough for everyone. Like we can have a day of free fun for our community.
Well, that's true because, you know, one thing I've always noticed, and I've said this many times on the show, is the level of cooperation, of collegiality, if you will, between the nonprofits is very impressive. It's not competitive at all. It's not, well, every dollar they get is a dollar I didn't get. It's none of that attitude whatsoever. I've always enjoyed that show we've done in September, which,
It's so great.
you know, that we have all of them in the room. Yeah, I hope to do it again, you know. And just to watch those people interact with each other, just it's touching almost, you know, to see that and how fortunate we have that going on in our community. I don't know
it's
if
really great.
I don't know if it goes on in other communities, but I know it happens here, and I really appreciate that. You know, and as far as like other things at the event, I do know that the ones that I recall, I mean, there's some that, you know, for health care services and counseling services, things of that nature. I've noticed at your event because a lot of people go there not just, you know, spend a pleasant morning and afternoon, but also sometimes you never know when you stumble across something that you might find to be very necessary in your life.
Yes. So we have a salon that comes out and we'll do free haircuts. House 414 here in Crowley will come out and do free haircuts, which is amazing for those that are that are in need of that. We do have a blood drive. We love that they come out every year, and then all kinds of other free services. And that's really the only requirement we have of our vendors. So we're like, hey, you can set up for free, but in exchange, you have to do something free. It can be a game, it can be a craft, it can be a coloring sheet. It can be what you want, but it has to be something free back to the community. So we do end up with a lot of just fun activities that don't cost. We're like, hey, no tip jars, please. Like, we just want a free day for our community to come learn about the services that are available and have fun.
So really, it's not like a flea market or like the farmer's market. You're not going there, to buy products or services. They're promoting their products and services, and they can maybe give you samples and all this other business, but they're not like setting up to sell you things.
No, they can sell, it's yes. Okay. So that was actually a desire. We originally said no selling, and then up until I think the last 3 years, we were no selling. But we polled the patrons that came through, and everybody, like so many patrons, were just, why can't we buy stuff? Okay. And I was like, all right, we'll change our mission some, and now we do allow that opportunity. But the main focus is real. We tell all of our selling vendors, you still have to have a free something, a game, a something.
I don't really think of it in the same way I do the farmer's market. I mean, that's the purpose of the farmer's market, is to go and buy, be a vendor, buy products, whatever. And I guess I went in there and there was so much giveaway that I didn't really think of it as a financial transaction place. I didn't think of it as, buying and selling of goods or anything like that. So
I'm glad. That is definitely our heart desire.
I guess if I think about it real hard, I think there may have been some people selling something like jewelry or soaps or candles or whatever else, but I don't think of it in the same way as what you see here on Saturday mornings or now Sunday mornings over here in Crowley. And so you achieve that goal, because I don't think that's really when people go to Cedar Hill, I don't think they think of it as I'm going to go spend money. They think of it, I'm going to see my neighbors, see my friends, find out about a few products, see some cars, hear some singing. So I think they think of it as that more than a shopping trip, I guess is the best way to put it.
Awesome. Yeah, we definitely love the festival side of it versus the market.
Did you ever think about getting like those carnival rides for little kids and stuff like that?
Man, the insurance.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So I'm like, in this time of not quite, we would love it. The Heights sometimes comes out with their little train, and that's always fun. So we usually leave it up to the vendors to bring this something fun. We do have our bounce house sponsors and our petting zoo sponsor, which is amazing.
The petting zoo, it's amazing, because when I was a younger father and had small children, and we do things at a petting zoo, that brings in the kids.
Oh yeah.
So as far as like little roller coaster, a little mini Ferris wheel, I guess y'all thought about these things before, but you're right. I guess the insurance and liability and all that is just more, and they would charge you.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be for free. So I guess that would kind of, take away from the mission. And the mission really, it's not just to promote Crazy Eights, it's really to promote community.
So we call it a friend raiser, and that's really what it is. We want to raise friends in the community. It's a friend raiser.
Well, I mean, you do want the word out about what y'all do, and that's great. But this is a great way to do it. So as far as other fundraisers, you were talking about a golf tournament.
Yes.
Do you have a date for that?
We sure do, and I should know that off the top of my head.
Well, you got lots going on these days. You've been working for them for a little while, haven't you?
I came on about the first City on a Hill is what really what drew me in was I'm an event planner by trade. And
a baker, right?
Yes.
I remember
I went to school to be culinary.
Yeah. Well, I remember, and that was your goal. And so, but your event plan, that would drive me crazy as a career. I have a friend whose daughter does event planning, and no, thank you. I mean, all the little details drive me nuts.
Oh, I love it. I love every bit of it. Our golf tournament's September 19th this year.
September 19th.
At Southern Oaks.
Well, that's good. And, I mentioned before the show, I'm with the Burleson Opportunity Fund. We dropped our golf tournament because what was happening with us is that we would raise money for the golf tournament, and then we had that big breakfast in October. We'd go back to more or less the same people, and they're like, I already hit my budget limit, the first time around. So we were going to concentrate all our efforts on the breakfast. This is really your main fundraiser, right? That and the Ocho Loco.
And the Ocho Loco. Yeah, those are our two big ones.
Yeah. But like I've said numerous times in the show, it's those monthly contributors that make
Yes,
the
that's
difference.
really for us to commit to a resident to say, hey, we'll move you in for 2 years. We want to know we have the funding to carry them for 2 years. So it is really those monthly donations that is what makes us thrive.
And it's a lot. It's easy. You get up there and get a recurring charge on your card, and you're good to go, and all that. So it's not like you have to remember.
Yes.
Yes. I think mine comes in like the 15th of every month, and I don't have to think about it. So the golf tournament, I guess y'all nowhere near setting up planning yet, but you're going to, we're taking teams and vendors for that, but you'll take them when they get there.
Yeah. I'd say we'll probably have registration open probably on the other side of May.
Yeah. We'll have to get
Give me a couple weeks and then we'll be good to go.
Do you fret about these things, do you?
Oh, no. No, the Lord's hand is upon it. It makes it easy.
Well, that's a good attitude to have because, when I was doing student council parades, that was the biggest one, is all the details. And, the 2 hours prior to the parade was like chaos. And then, but then once they started leaving the back gate over at the former Kerr Middle School, now the early college, it all seemed to work out. And, and I always kind of liken these events to a wedding. The bride notices the details. Everybody else is just, there. And if there's a glitch here, a glitch there, it doesn't matter because it's all good. So y'all don't really worry about these things much, huh?
No, and our team's so amazing. The Lord's really put together a good group that we just all work well together and can move forward with the mission in mind.
Well, when I talk about Crazy Eights, some people in the community are aware of you, but they think you're a homeless shelter. And you're really much more than that. You're not really a homeless shelter. You're more like the best way to put it, I could put it, is you help rehabilitate people's lives.
Yeah. So I call it a restorative housing program with the perk of a house. It's a restorative program. That's really our focus is let's look at the individual, attack all the suburban poverty barriers that are preventing them from moving forward. And then from that, we'll really put them back on the plan the Lord had for them.
Right. I've met a couple of your clients. Lisa brought one time, and I think another one I met at their Moretti's Oil, which, by the way, I'm out of Tuscan herb. I need to go by and get some more.
Yes. It's so good. It's
ruined me for regular olive oil. It's like, oh, please, don't be gauche. Anyway, because I got the Tuscan herb. And so, and they're there for an extended period. They're not, this isn't like those shelters down on Lancaster and Fort Worth or something like that. This is there for...
We have an 18 to 24 month program, depending on where you're at. And we do take like you said, it's not quite the same as what's down on Lancaster. We have an interview and an application. So we're not an emergency shelter, which is the big one. You cannot just roll up and drop off and be good. We're looking for those people that are looking for those life changes. We want to go through our program with them and make sure that they're going to be committed to us as much as we're committed to them.
Yes. And so it's more than just a place to sleep. And quite often, in fact, the majority of your clients have children.
Yes, yeah. We're women and children, yep.
Right. And you have men?
No, not anymore. We housed men for a minute. We were not successful at that. So we went back to doing what we were good with, which is women and children.
I think that's a good plan because I don't know about all the logistical problems that the men would present, but I don't know if they're in the same mindset as a lot of your clients, that particularly moms with children, because they're looking to get back on their feet. Whereas I don't know, were the men not? I could only speculate. But I
would say it's hard for men because unfortunately, in the way our system works is if you have a male who is has child support, and if he's behind on his child support, then our goal of, hey, get a job stinks for them because their wages are going to get instantly garnished. So you lose a lot of that drive when you're making those outcomes and all you get is negative effects outside of that, which again is as it should be, but it's still difficult,
Well, still, if you have child support, then not taking a job is not exactly stepping up to the plate. But but it really, the original goal for Crazy Eights, and it seems like you've kind of returned to that, is to find women with or without children, and not just here's a place to stay, but also help them get back on their feet, help them get their finances more in order, help them maybe build a resume of sorts, try to get them a work history, and teach them some, if they don't already know it, some certain responsibilities, things of that
Some
nature. Life skills like that. You think a lot of people just born with that. That's not true. I mean, people are raised with that, and the things that you and I would think, well, shouldn't everybody know that? Well,
I mean, down to cleaning a room.
Yeah.
We're like, we have to come along these people and say, hey, let me show you what this looks like. Because if it's never been modeled for them, then they don't know.
I've talked to a couple other nonprofits that deal with people in that situation, and they'll tell you that the things that we just would assume, like hygiene or personal area cleanliness or whatever else, or things of that nature. For a lot of people that weren't raised in that environment, or maybe diverted from that environment because of drugs or alcohol, it's something that has to be taught. You also teach them things like financial skills as well, about budgets and whatnot.
Yes.
And again, most people think, well, I got X amount of money, I got X amount of expenses, and you make it work and whatever else. That's a skill that's taught. It reminds me of Re-Inspire over in Cleburne.
Oh, yes.
You know them, okay. They're also going to be on the show soon. I'm talking to their new director, Shandy Stogsdill, Wednesday. And we'll see about getting a time set up. But, they have to teach a lot of those foster kids, just the basics, of, I don't know, how do you present yourself in an interview? How do you present yourself, in the public? And you do the same thing, right?
Yes,
for a different clientele, but still.
Yeah. So we partner with Moretti's for sure. We've also partnered with Texas Health before in coming alongside our residents and just not offering them employment, but really helping their employability, which is what we find. Like, hey, anybody can hire them, but they don't know how to be good employees. So we want to find organizations that come alongside and say, hey, let me show you how to be a good employee with where you're at.
Well, things like, being on time, being publicly presentable, all that, again, those are skills you and I were just raised with, but they may not have been. I'm sure a lot of these women not only had abusive marriages and things of that nature, but also probably were raised in abusive environments.
Unhealthy relationships is our number one cause to get people homelessness, is just not having those healthy boundaries.
So how does one become a client?
So we have an application process. Usually we're typically heard of word of mouth. But we have an application. Everything's online and make it super easy to get to. And they just go on, fill out an application. We either call or email them back and let them know if we have any openings and what that looks like, set up an interview, and then it's an interview and then in the door.
Well, what do you look for in a potential client? What kind of responses are you hoping to get?
When we say tell you who does not qualify would be the easiest way. So if you're currently addicted to any hard drugs, we're not a detox program. We are a great step after that. Hey, you've been clean and you're ready to pick up those pieces of your life. Come on into us. We're great with that. We're not current domestic violence. Now, a lot of our ladies have domestic violence in their past. But if you're currently in domestic violence, there's amazing programs for that.
One Safe Place comes to mind.
One Safe Place, Johnson County Crisis Center. Again, we don't have the security for it. We're not 24-hour security. A lot of our residents can come and go. We have quiet hours and things like that. But we're not staffed 24 hours on campus.
So for a lot of these women, a lot of it was financial problems as much as anything else. It isn't so much they're addicts or they are,
Say poor life choices.
You made poor life choices. What if they have a criminal record?
That's fine.
Okay.
They all do.
Well, I would figure most of them may have like misdemeanors, but if,
Felonies as well.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. So that's not going to be a disqualifier. And when you say about domestic violence, you're talking about, I'm sure many of your clients has experienced that, but you're talking about an ongoing current situation.
Currently active.
Right. You're like, they're still with the abuser.
But again, we're great places for like One Safe Place or Johnson County Crisis Center they've kind of been cleared of that issue, whatever that looks like. Then we're great, like, hey, come to us. Let us put your life back together. Let's get those things. Let's learn the things we need to do.
So, again, a woman with or without children, contacts you because these things often have a dramatic financial impact. obviously. I mean, these things go on in all homes, but your clients, it's had such a dramatic financial impact that they currently don't have a place to go, place to live. And so y'all provide a place to live. And I've seen y'all's pictures and whatnot. It's not like a dorm or anything, but it is a group living situation.
Yes, yeah. It's community living.
They each have their own room, but they have like community kitchens, right?
Yes.
Things like that. And community washer and dryers. Do they have their own restroom facilities?
In our family campus, they do. Each room has their own bathroom in it. In our singles campus, it's more dormitory style where they have a shared bathroom.
Yeah. The dorm life. I remember that 40-something years ago. And so, y'all are in a big building campaign, and you showed us before the show the design. You want to throw that up there, Josh?
Yes. So this just came in this morning. I'm going to say probably a lot of our staff haven't even seen it yet.
Oh, so, breaking news here, guys.
It is breaking news.
Okay.
But this is our big build that we have a 5-year vision for. This is the end goal of our 5-year vision, which is will give us more housing. This would, in theory, replace our North Campus, which is our family campus right now.
Is that the one on 917?
No, this is where this will be built. Will be on 917.
Okay,
our family campus is out on Wilhite in Cleburne.
Okay, I know you had 2 facilities and whatnot, but this is going to be like your main one, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Going to consolidate some of the things you got going on.
Yeah, so some things we're really excited for. One, these rooms are a little bit bigger, and there's a few more of them than what we can currently house in our family campus right now. Outside of that, we're planning this indoor play area that will have glass walls so that if you're in a meeting or something like that, you'll be able to see your kiddos, but still be able to have the quietness and privateness of meeting with your case manager, your counselor, or any trainings that we put on as well. It has 8 rooms around the side with a shared in the middle, and then 8 rooms around the side and shared in the middle.
Well, it's a interesting design. I mean, because I'm pretty familiar with your layout, and this will be not only, I don't know, it seems to be more private and almost in certain ways, and also, it's going to be pretty nice, I'm sure.
Yes.
I don't know what the price tag, but I'm sure you're taking on a very substantial project here. This is not, just your typical fundraiser. So you said your first goal is to pay off the current mortgages, right?
Yes. If we can get those paid off, that'll really position us to be in a good spot to move forward and go into the architecture and the building debt-free, which is really our desire.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Are y'all going to have particular fundraisers or special appeals for this? Because I know that certain groups, they just incorporate in the budget, and other groups will have a separate fundraiser, like churches do. They'll have a building campaign and things like that. Are you going to have separate appeals and fundraisers for that?
Definitely. Well, we've started with our campaign page, which is the website that has the information on it here, and it'll go through our phases in our timeline. And that's really what we're pushing right now. I don't know if we will do any just special fundraising. I'm sure as we get further into the years, our phase 2 of fundraising for it, I'm sure that will look different.
One thing I've, noticed, like at our church, we did a big building campaign a few years ago, and we still have a little bit of debt on it. And you go down to our giving page, and it has a drop box and has all these different categories, and you can give to the general fund, or you can give to Lottie Moon, or you can give to a Promises community, et cetera, and they have one for building fund. You're going to do something similar where people can contribute not just to your overall budget, but specifically also to.
So that's definitely on this page. Yeah. The donates buttons on this page will go to those funds. Little make a donations there.
Even the thing about these donations, it'd be nice if somebody could say, here's $500,000, or something like that. Because I know several groups who could use that kind of generosity, like our friends over at the Center for ASD. They're going to be on the show in May, and we're going to find out what their status is about their facility.
Their building campaign.
Yeah, they're building as well. And Next Step would like to do that and all this. And it's hard.
It's hard work.
Yeah, it is. You got something like a church like we did. We had a membership to draw upon. Y'all are reliant strictly on the community.
Yeah, unfortunately, our members are in poverty. So,
right.
Yeah, we definitely rely on the community. A lot of businesses and partnerships like that.
So it's going to be something. Now, if anybody can pull this off, it could be Lisa. I mean, she's going to, because, she walks in. How can you say no? How can you say no to any of these ladies, really? But Lisa Schwartz is a force of nature. Didn't she just win an award from the chamber?
Yes, she was a Citizen of the Year.
That doesn't surprise me. Well, it's well deserved, and I hope this helps with that. I mean, to be recognized by the chamber as a significant community member is a great honor, and
it's
also
such an honor.
Yeah, but it also lends a lot of credence to what you're trying to do. That you have the endorsement more or less of the community like that, and so I know this is way out there, but are you like I don't know if I got. Remember the answer. I'm getting old. Are y'all going to do special fundraisers apart from the golf tournament, apart from Ocho Loco?
So we haven't discussed yet. I'm sure as we get past this first year, we may be doing something particular for the building portion. But right now, I know we're just doing a big ask for the paying off the mortgages.
Are there any grants available?
We do have a gentleman that we work with to help with grants as well.
Okay, that's good, because there's a lot of private grants. I mean, taking public money often is problematic.
Yes,
because,
so we do no governmental funding.
Yeah, right. That's a good thing. I mean, I know here in Johnson County, probably people give you a great deal of latitude with what you do, but we can't always count on that. Because the federal government or the state government, they want to get involved and try to, curtail some of your activities, particularly in the faith-based aspect of it.
Yes. They said we were too proselytizing to be giving funds to, and we're not going to change that. So
no, and that's you are providing a home and you're in a stabilizing situation for these, but there is a spiritual component now. But it's not like you have to sign some oath or some sort of faith and statement or something like that, but there is an expectation of your clients that they be willing to participate in counseling of various kinds, right?
Yes. So for our housing program, we do have them because we are faith-based. So we say, hey, you need to attend church. We don't care where, for each their own, but we do want you seeking spiritual growth.
Do you have services on your campus?
Not that we provide. Here recently, we had a church, Milk and Honey Ministries, move into our Connection Center or Connection Building on main campus, and they rented out Sundays and Wednesdays
for like a church service
for their church.
Milk and Honey. I'm not familiar with this group. Is this a new group?
Yes.
Okay. There's a lot of groups like this in Johnson County, and again, it goes back to what we said earlier. What a blessing it is. But if you want to be a client, you have expectations of not just church attendance, but also if you need counseling, family budgeting counseling, family relationships, whatever.
Meet with a case manager every week, and they set goals in the 7 poverty barriers. So those barriers are mental, emotional, spiritual well-being, physical well-being, financial well-being, education and career, parental health, transportation and housing, and then stewardship and basic life skills. So they set goals in each of those areas, and then we assign point values to teach them, like, hey, the decisions you make do matter, and they are a value in your life. And so by the end of a quarter, we want them to be at an 80 or higher to move forward.
How much in rent do they pay? Is it just based on their ability to pay?
Yes, we have a scale that they move along.
Because people think, well, why don't you do it for free? Well, that's not really teaching them financial responsibility.
Yes, and they have to have a little skin in the game to...
Darn tootin'. No, I think that's a good idea. I think if to have them pay, I'm sure a greatly reduced rate, but have them pay something puts some more of their attention to the matter and helps them with budgeting, because they're not going to get free housing once they leave. Now, you say this is 18 to 24 months, and so the goal is after this period of time that they're self-sufficient, they are able to budget, they're able to handle a daily job and know what that takes, and things of that nature. I remember talking to Lisa, one of the biggest handicaps they have is usually lack of transportation. So you have an old car, I bet you'll take it.
Yes. The resident sure would, for sure.
Oh, another one was washers and dryers. Are y'all still having
I would say
that
washers,
need?
dryers, and refrigerators. We are always taking. Hey, it's tax season, so if you're, upgrading your appliances, just give us a holler. We'd love to. My husband comes out and picks them up. We have a small team of folks that
Your
kind of help
husband,
out.
I'm sure that was part of the deal when he said, I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we've done a great deal. I would be amiss if I didn't mention our counseling real quick as we're coming to near. But we do offer free biblical-based counseling to the community. There's a one-time $25 program fee, or not program fee, but administrative fee with that. But all the counseling service after that is free, which is really our bigger service. Like if we can, the preventative services are so much easier and less expensive, and
Well,
if we can catch them before they get into the brokenness,
Right. I've seen some of y'all's material for the counseling, and it's not like do you walk in, hey, how you doing? No, it's a formatted study. It has materials with it. It has readings that go with it. It has goals to reach. It's a very laid out process. It's not just what's on your mind today kind of counseling. And so that's a good thing, because it's kind of like, reminded me of like marriage counseling, because I remember when Rob and I were getting married, her dad was doing the marriage counseling. I thought, okay, he's going to ask me a bunch of questions or whatever. Like, I didn't want to answer. It wasn't like that at all. I said, here's a format, here's a book, here's, answer these questions and be prepared to discuss them next week and that kind of thing. And so that's kind of what y'all do.
Our book's the Bible, but yes.
Well, I've seen some of Lisa's material as well.
Yes,
she writes a lot of the material, but it's a really good. It's a great format, and I really would love to see that building being built.
Oh, us too.
I know, but it just that's been the dream of so many of the nonprofits, is they work in the facilities that are provided. But I know that as we've expanded as a community, the needs have greatly expanded. I think at an even greater rate. You look at our friends at Next Step, and they are practically on top of each other. And then you go to Harvest House, or you go to Promises, and then Promises is a little different. It's attached to my church, but they could always use more space. That's been a real need. Has that been happening with y'all too, I'd assume?
Definitely. We're almost always at capacity, which is, we say the biggest perk of our program is also the biggest downfall, which is we're 2 years long. So usually once we get a person in, they're with us for 2 years. But that was definitely our desire of building the new campus, is having the more rooms. Also, you'd asked me before we got started what was kind of our telltale of, hey, this is what to do.
But I mean, this is, I'm sure, arrived at with a lot of prayer with y'all, because it wasn't like, I'm sure y'all didn't wake up and said, yeah, we need more space. Yeah, whatever, let's go for it. No, I'm sure y'all been pondering and praying this for some time.
Yeah, our North Campus, which was amazingly given to us, is just nickeling, diming, hundreds and $1,000s us to death. It is just an old campus that we're continually putting money into, and we're like, hey, this isn't going to sustain us. Like, it is going to. It's at the end of its life, and we need to start preparing to replace it.
So you're going to tear that one down or give it away or
something? Yes, we don't know, but it's definitely won't be here in a few years. It won't be usable.
So. Right. When you say nickel and diming, it was like not just the utilities, but also
the flooring and
right.
So it was before us. It was the Johnson County Christian Lodge. Before that, it was Johnson County Crisis Center, and before that, it was the railroad station from the Santa Fe Railroad, where the workers. So it's actually built of rail cars. So metal cars, like 4 of them in a row, and then, but it's been years in those poor little metal cars, and it's just, flooring, walls, they're just falling apart.
Yeah, well, it didn't last forever, I guess. But when you talk about, is your goal to have it built within 5 years, or at least starting the building in 5 years?
I think it's built in 5 years.
That's Lisa. It's ambitious. It really is. And, if anybody can pull it off, it's y'all. But, it just brings to mind, again, I mentioned Lisa Bolton now. So we're at Center for ASD, and I mentioned Summer and Megan over at Next Step. A lot of these things are just bursting to capacity, and, I talked with Amber Case, now the new leader over at Harvest House, and they could use more room and all this other stuff. And Burleson, being where it is, located on the highway near the big city and all that, is really getting more and more clientele for these kind of enterprises. And that's just the outgrow. This is part of being in a growing community. Is that part of the community is growing as well? Not just
it all grows.
Yeah, not just the upper middle class, but also the people need it. There's Lisa. She goes, "Hi, friend." She's joining us now. I'm sure she's out there knocking on doors and getting things done, that kind of thing.
Yes.
So, but you've been working, you said, for about 10 years now, right? And you just still love it, don't you?
Oh, I love it. I love every bit of it.
Yeah. I always watch and talk with you all about the emotional impact these kind of jobs have, because sometimes some days are better than others. And it always amazes me just how dedicated you are to all these things. She says she's stalking us over here. Lisa's stalking. That's good. She's just making sure you're not out horsing around, I guess. But anyway, no, it's amazing, because I've talked to so many of these nonprofits, and it's just like, where did that spirit come from? I mean, because not everybody has it. And so, what is it for you?
For me, it's just the service. It is just the Lord has put a servant heart in me, and that is really what I love to do. And while I thought it was cakes and catering, what I say is, like, the Lord back then, I would hear a bride and hear the stories of what they want their cake to look like and what they want their day to look like. And I love to make that dream come true.
Sure.
So the Lord has paired me with a visionary who has amazing desires and amazing future look at plans, and to be able to come alongside and say, okay, how we do it? Like, let's put feet on the ground. Let's go. And it's just an awesome thing to be a part of, for sure.
When I think about you as a former student and all, I could see that in you. Service doesn't always have to be in a nonprofit situation. Some people like to serve, and being a caterer and a baker is a service, right? It's not just, here's your donuts and shut up. It's no, you like you were talking about, you wanted to make this event special. So that I could see how that translates pretty easily to this. And it's a great thing. And I don't know if I have it, but a lot of people that do. And I'm looking at them like, how do you sustain yourself? How do you sustain? Because like I said, not all days are great days. I mean, there's some disappointments, that you want to see happen and it didn't work out, or you had a client that really you had hopes for and it's not doing what you want. She's not progressing like you'd like, and all that. What sustains you?
The Lord. So we have to look at the Lord and not get our substance from anything else.
Well, good for you. I mean, that's the only place to really get it, so anyway, we're getting close to time. If you throw up the 88.3, if you would, Josh, The Journey will be promoting this show, and I'm sure Lisa and Rich well, and like I said, you maybe ought to shake him down for a few minutes on his on his program.
Well, you should start hearing ads for City on a Hill there pretty soon on The Journey. So.
Yeah.
And then Lisa has a podcast, or it's like a 1-minute prayer that releases every morning as well through The Journey.
Well, we could use it on this show too, because I always have her pray on the show. And like I said, it's like, God must really owe you some favors, because every time she prays, it happens. So that's why I fully expect this building one day to be built.
Yes,
But anyway, it's been a really good deal with The Journey and us, because my wife loves the station, for one thing, and and he helps promote not just Christian music and the Christian faith, but also Christians want to know what's going on with the tax situation, or what's going on with the Central Appraisal District too, and so he'll promote that as well. And as far as community radio, this will be on tonight at 6:00, and it'll be again 1:00 tomorrow, and it's on live 365. Tune in, and Audacity, which is a good place to get it. That's where you can get the Ranger games, and also it'll be in Apple and Spotify tomorrow about this time. So you'll get some coverage, I hope. My numbers are what they are, so there you go. It will be built, Lisa says. She's going to speak that in faith. Every time y'all come on the show, I have a prayer. Are you comfortable praying on the air?
Yeah, I can pray.
We'll go right ahead, please.
Awesome. Oh, Father, we come before you today, Lord. And first, just thank you for the networking and what you have here, Lord. Thank you for the shared vision and the community that you have around not only this show, but the ministry as well. Father, we just lift up our city to you, our county, and our country, Lord. We just pray that your hand be upon us the next few years, Lord, as the economy grows and as prosperity happens, Lord, because that's what you promise in your word, Lord, that as we lean forward, Lord, that you are with us. And Lord, I just lift today up and this week I just lift it up to you, Lord. In your name.
Amen. Now, well, I can see this on the air. I'm very proud of you, Liz, and I'm really pleased to see how you've turned out as a young lady. Not that I had any doubts back when you were 17, but it's one of the best things about being a school teacher is you see the people as adults and how well they're doing, not just financially well, but just what kind of people they are. So you're doing great. Lisa, you done good. All right. Josh, well, we'll get back to you later. No, you did good. Josh, thank you for everything. Tomorrow, I have another nonprofit. Eric Vyers is going to be talking about Reach Across Johnson County, and they have a mental health seminar coming up in about 10 days. And that's another thing that I think is important. A lot of Christians in particular, I don't know, they view mental health from with an arm's length because they think, well, it should depend strictly upon Scripture or whatever. Well, Christians need mental health counseling as well.
Yes,
absolutely, they do. So we'll be talking all about that tomorrow. And Lisa says, "Amen." I can't think of a better way to end the show than that. So we'll see y'all tomorrow.